never met a happy, successful owner of a high six-figure or a seven-figure studio that had a team full of casuals. The sequel to that is how you design your rosters. Too many of you design your rosters based on who's available. What I would encourage you to do is design your rosters based on who can convert. Welcome back to another episode of the Geronimo Unfiltered Podcast. I'm Dozy, your host, and today I'm a little bit fired up. What's new, I hear you ask? No. Guys, just in this last month, just in the last 30 days, I've been doing a bit of travel, working on some projects with different HQs, and as such, I visit some clients and I also visit some, a mystery shop, some other studios. Now, this episode I'm going to talk to you guys about some shit that I'm seeing from studios that are struggling. And when I say struggling, like they're just not doing as well as they could be. Because I see potential in all of you. I see potential in all of you because I know you guys are hard workers and I just want the best for you guys. But sometimes you guys let yourself down. But I'm going to operate from the premise that everyone's trying their best and maybe you're just at the edge of you don't know what you don't know. So in this episode right now, I'm going to explain 3 ways that you're losing money every single session, and you don't have to. The first one is, let me tell you a story. I went into a studio. I'm not going to mention where. It happened in the last 30 days. I went in with Sophie and I went in with Ash. Now, I know this particular studio is not doing that well because I've just heard throughout the grapevine. On the surface, it looks very, very popular. But team, don't confuse popular with successful. Now, one of my team had been messaging them in the background to like try and get us booked in for the 6 a.m. on that Friday morning. Message. Nothing. Then finally, Thursday night, late, got a message from someone, no names, and said, yep, sure, just pop down. So we're like, oh, okay, I suppose we're on. We walk in and one of my guys said, oh, hey, it's, the 3 of us and we're here to jump into a session. I've been messaging you. And then that person who was foam rolling on the ground, who was the other owner, said, oh, that wasn't me. That was such and such, the other owner. That's all right, just jump in. And we're like, okay, well, I want to fix you up. But anyway, so we joined in the class. Class was pretty good, again, like high vibes and all that kind of stuff, right? Most of the studios that we talk about, most studios that we work with, there's nothing wrong with their workouts. Anyway, we get to the end of the class and we go, okay, so how do we pay for like 3 casuals? Now, I think it might have been $150. Got the phone ready to go, ready to double tap. Let's go. And he goes, oh, we don't take payments here. I go, what do you mean you don't take payments here? And he goes, we don't take payments here. So what I'd get you to do, please, could you go in and log yourself in for 3 spots for the 9:30 class? It'll ask you to download an app and you'll have to set up 3 different fucking profiles to then pay, because you can't pay for 3 casual visits yourself. And you'll have to do that at 9:30. And then can you just send me the receipts after you've done that so I just know that you did that? Fuck no. I'm not going to do that. Like, just take my money. Like, why can't you take my money? And so we left the class a bit weird. And there was no sense of like, will you be back? Are you from the area? What's your training goals like? If you love that class, you might really enjoy the next class. Tomorrow we do this kind of stuff. And then on Sunday, we're doing a run club. And then we're having breakfast together at the beach and fucking rubbing each other's backs. I don't know. Anything. The guy was just like, too cool for us. Just let us leave and wanted me to book in 3 different apps, 3 different profiles and book in for 3 different random spots at the 9:30 class. No way. No fucking way I was going to do that. Mate, if it was us, I'd have a little thing hanging off your phone. I'll take payments. I'll take your credit card. I'll take a Bitcoin if you got one. I'll walk out to your car, see how much money you got in your car seats. Like, whatever. Like, guys, you're not there to just be cool and hang out. Like, an entrepreneur solves problems at a profit. If your business isn't making profit, I don't care how fucking cool you think you are, it's not successful. And again, I'm coming at this from a position of like, I care about your members who are there. 3/4 of them are there for mental health reasons. Like, they need you to stay open. They need you to accept payments at the studio. And mate, if the kebab shop can figure it out, take cash, card, anything, you can too. The second thing that fired me up, really fires me up. The second thing that fired me up was we did a visit to a client of ours. Great guys, passionate, the whole thing. You've heard it all. We've heard it all as well. So walked into their studio. First time I've tried their concept, and it's a franchise concept, but it's the first time I actually tried this particular franchise concept. Sophie and I walked in, and it's almost by impulse. It's the thing that I do because actually we both did it because it's just who we are. It's just like, we've done it for so friggin' long. We're at the mastery level of it. I've walked in and said, all right, who's up for grabs? And they're like, what? I was like, who's up for grabs? Who here, like, aside from the niceties, who here is up for grabs? Who's here ready to roll over? Who here is like on their second or third? Remember, guys, like they've got 3 visits. Like people know within their first 3 visits. So who's within those magical 3 sessions, or who's within their rollover period that are up for grabs? And they're like, oh, is it? I think is that? And then they talked amongst themselves, husband and wife team. They're like, oh, is that Susan over there? Is that? No, that's not Susan. Is that the one over there in red shirt? Oh, I'm not sure. I was like, guys, you've got to be more drilled than this. So anyway, they had no fucking idea. We went through the whole session together. At the end of the session, obviously, Sophie and I in the rest periods were looking around thinking about who might be the new ones, if we could try and pick them. And I'll tell you what, by the movement of these 2 owners, who I thought were there to put on a big show for us and show us how drilled they were, there was no cohesion to who was looking after the newbies and who was looking after the OGs and who was getting involved in the workouts. That was, yeah, I'm not against that, but like, you're not putting your workout ahead of people that are there to roll over if you're not making enough money to pay your bills at the end of the month. And you told me that you would do whatever it took. Anyway, the whole session went by. We get to the end of it. Obviously, I start the high five, big energy around the room. Get the high fives cranking. Well done. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, mate. Say goodbye. Doing the whole thing. Help them pack away and then come to the 2 owners and say, did you get them? And they said, who? And I went, the fucking people. They were up for grabs that you're here to roll over. And she was like, no, I think they left. I think they left. Sophie and I just looked at each other and went, fucking hell. Guys, that studio is now closed. Well, they've debranded and now it's a PT studio. It's not a tough market, guys. You just got to turn things up. We have studios at record levels at the moment. And to be honest, those studio owners, the ones that are record levels right now, they love hearing about these sorts of stories because they're like, great, that's my competition. Guys, you've done the hard yards. You've got the lead. You've fought the market. You've made the sale. They're in your studio. I want you to walk in every single day, in every single session, and you know exactly who's in the room, who's up for grabs, who's within their first 3 sessions, who still hasn't rolled over yet, who's up for grabs to roll over. Who is it? And if you're the owner, you're quarterbacking with, the lead trainer on that session or the lead instructor at that session, and you're giving them that information. We call that quarterbacking, right? You're quarterbacking that information. Hey, Susan, you're on the 3rd visit. This is her angle. Talk to her about this. And then if you're the trainer there that's on that session and you're just holding around that fucking iPad, like you got to make sure that you're trained to know exactly how to have that chat and exactly who it is and make sure that you've got an experience ready for that person. I would strongly suggest that you do this kind of formation that we call the shift captain and the B trainer or the B instructor. And it's really clear who's looking after the newbies and who's looking after the rest of the class. So you're not just sharking around the room and treading on each other's toes and completely missing an opportunity that literally just walked out the fucking door. Would you be surprised to know that studio is not doing that well? They're not hitting 80% rollovers and all that kind of stuff. So that's the second piece, right? So the first thing is like, learn how to take money at the studio, learn how to close on the spot. When people walk in and they're giving you money, learn how to take that money and also see if you can get more out of them. Like that casual visit, how can we make you a regular? What are you looking for? Let's like make that sale. Don't be too cool and just sit on the fucking foam roller and pretend that you don't need the money, because I know you do, bro. The second thing is people up for grabs. Every single session, there are people up for grabs. And if there's not, then you really need to talk to us about making sure that you fill up your classes with new people so you create a nice, juicy pipeline for you to make sure that you've got enough people to roll over. So you keep stacking cash and you keep stacking your revenue in your business. The third thing is how you guys design the rosters. Oh my God. Okay, team. You've heard me talk enough about, we've never met a happy, successful owner of a high 6-figure or a 7-figure studio that had a team full of casuals. The sequel to that, my friends, is how you design your rosters. So here's the big idea. Too many of you design your rosters based on who's available. What I would encourage you to do is design your rosters based on who can convert. You've got to think of your roster as less of a bums on seats and more of a performance that you're choreographing, a performance with a conversion for the members, but also for sales. I want you to go and listen to the episode I did on team structure and team design. Go through that, do the work on that. Remember, guys, the transformation happens with the implementation, not just the information. And then come back to this. When we did our rosters, we always made sure, and the way that we stacked our team and the way that we stacked the roster, there was not like we did 46 shifts a week, right? Per studio. Try and find a shift where a newbie wouldn't walk in and they wouldn't get sold something. Try and find a shift where someone was up for grabs to the rollovers and they wouldn't at least be nudged or asked and had the convertible conversation. Not a chat, but the convertible conversation. You couldn't find it. We had shift captains, we had speed trainers, we had pre-session checklists, we had targets per session, we had announcements for every session, intro feedback loops, and we had post-session protocols. If you want more information on any of those things, find me on hey.dozer and ask me questions. And I'm more than happy to go back and forth on chat with you or just do some audio messages. But if you want to be different, if you want to be a pro level in this industry, instead of just making sure that availabilities are sorted, make sure that every single session has a converter. Someone who can make sales for walk-ins, someone who can take payment and knows how to use a bloody system to take payments, not like old mate in the first example, and someone who can actually convert someone from an intro offer to a full-time membership. And you've got someone else as a hygiene level can also run a 6 session. They understand your 5-star session framework. They know what your training identity is. And you guys are fully choreographed. You know who's on what side of the room and what each role is of each of the people that are on shift. And if you're nodding your head and go, yeah, of course it does. That's Captain Obvious. Now, let me ask you this. Do you have targets? Do you have targets for your team per session? Do they know what their one number is that they need to hit? Do you have a system to be able to have a convertible conversation so it doesn't feel like it's a sale to that member? When you get this right, it's a fucking game changer for you as the owner. Like, we've got members in Geronimo now that are taking more holidays than ever before because they've been hiring people to their team design that we've taught them, and they've trained them up on those systems. So now while they're on holiday, instead of stressing out and having that phone attached to their hip 24/7, they're coming back to a studio that's actually grown. We get screenshots. Their most favorite thing in the world is when they're sitting down at the bar at night and they're getting receipts come through the inbox because they know that there's something that just happened at the studio, like someone just made a rollover or someone just made a sale, and they're sipping out of a tiki cup in Hawaii somewhere. Best thing ever. These are all systems that you can implement in your business. Otherwise, it must feel like complete chaos, or you're just not operating at the potential that I believe you can. That I believe that's in you, because you're already putting in the work. You may as well get paid for it. You may as well enjoy the life that comes with it. These are all systems that can be implemented in your business. It doesn't have to be hard. You just need to have the right strategies, the right systems, and install it in the right sequence. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It'll feel like, you're putting your undies on after you put your trousers on. You feel like Superman for about 10 seconds, and it gets a bit weird. If you don't have any of those, I'm going to have a link in the show notes for you. I will invite you to book a free 15-minute call with someone in my team, one of our top advisors, and they'll just kind of walk you through what some of the systems might look like. So you can do it yourself or you can do it with us. Either way. But anyway, team. Oh, I was a bit spicy that one. It's only because I just want more for you guys. And I just know, I hear there's a frequency out there that the market's tough, business is hard, and all this kind of, and I'm not going to take that away from you. Like, I agree, but I think there's a beautiful thing as part of that, which is like Ash said in that episode, that mindset episode, business can be one of the most powerful and beautiful personal and professional development instruments out there. But I don't want to fucking hear you whinging about how tough the market is. If you don't know how to take payments at your studio, you don't know how to turn a casual into a full-time member, you're not converting the people that are up for grabs. You don't even know who's up for grabs in your classes, let alone like you've just let them walk out the back door. And thirdly is you're still designing the roster based on who's available rather than who can fucking convert. So that if you've got 46 sessions on in the calendar, there's 46 sales events that happen every single week. Like, how can you not be a gangster if that's what's happening in your studio? So team, you plug those 3 leaks, you'll grow faster. You're very welcome. Love you guys. Send this episode to other people that might need to hear it. Other than that, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.